Welcome back to Better Living. I'm here now with Theresa from the Ohio Department of Transportation. We're going to talk about slow down, move over. I almost changed it for you. I was going to make it move over, slow down. But you probably ought to slow down before you move over.
Yeah, you should really pay attention. Yeah. Once you see the flashing lights of any kind, whether it's a tow truck, whether it's an ODOT vehicle, whether it's a state trooper, you have to either move over or slow down. And the reason that you have the different two, move over or slow down, I know it can be confusing, is because if you are on the interstate system that has 2 lanes, you will be able to move over. So if you have that, if you have the ability to move over, you should do so. But if you're on just a 2-lane highway, you might just want to slow down once you see those vehicles.
Seems obvious to me as to why you should do that, but for perhaps if it doesn't seem obvious, tell people why.
Because of safety. That's the #1 reason. There are so many instances where you have people that work along the highways, whether it's ODOT, law enforcement, or anybody who is tow truck companies. The reason is for safety. You want to make sure that you move over so that you can give them the ability to do their jobs and get the job done in a safe manner. There are, I think it is 23 highway workers a month that are killed in these types of accidents over across the United States. And in fact, in the time I've worked at ODOT, which has been 7 years, I know of 3 of my coworkers who have been involved in these types of incidents. Fortunately for them, they haven't been fatalities, but it's always very scary because they're concerned about going home to their families. Absolutely. They're doing a job. They are dedicated to their jobs, and it's unfortunate that because people aren't paying attention or for whatever reason, this could be an issue. So this is why this law is just so important.
And you just hit the nail on the head. You said this law, and that's what people need to remember. It is the law.
There are fines. They will be doubled if you do not move over. I think it's 2 times. I think it's $300 for the first ticket, first violation. It can go up to $1,000. So it can impact your budget. Yes. So you have to remember to do that. And like I said, if you're unsure of what to do, just be sure that you slow down in these areas and just pay attention because we're trying to do our jobs out there.
Absolutely. Well, we've got some things to remind people to do that. You guys have produced a little video that shows that, right?
Yeah, this was a great concept that was thought of by my intern, actually, to go around. Her name is Nancy, and she decided to go around and interview some of our workers and their families about what they do during the day, because I don't really think that people get that idea that, hey, you know, we've got a job to do, but we also have families to come home to. And so these spots that we have on our YouTube channel that we're going to show here in a couple minutes really show just how important that it is for our workers to come home.
Well, let's show that video of why people should move over and slow down.
It's sometimes, you know, might be a pain for, you know, you think you got to move over for construction vehicles or stuff like that, but it's just the safest thing to do. It's not very hard. Stick your blinker on, move over to the left lane, and then get right back. Everybody wants to go home to their family, you know, me along with everybody else who works with ODOT. So my 4 kids are very important to me, and I want to be safe and go home to them so they have a dad. When you see us working, please move over and slow down so we can get home safely to our families.
Well, he definitely wants to go down home because he may have the cutest kids I've ever seen in my life.
That baby is adorable.
Seriously.
Perfect camera timing with that little smile.
Yeah.
And that's really why this law is in place. Like I said, I don't want to have to do any more stories about my co-workers being injured, and even me being out on the highways when we were out there. We were just out there today on 475/75. It's a very dangerous place, and when you're in your vehicles, you may not realize that, oh, they're just working, they're in my way. No, you have to move over for their safety.
Well, I think, and we're all guilty of this, we're rushing because we've got to get to a baseball game or to work or whatever the case may be, and we think it's so very important to us. But it's not any more important than that ODOT worker that has to go home to their family member, or that police officer that wants to go home to his wife and kids, or whatever the case may be. And that's really what you have to think about when you're in your car. Your family, your life is no more important than their life or than that driver next to you either.
That's exactly what these little commercials that we have made do, is we want to shift people's out there thinking, their thoughts and what they go through, that even though they might be in a rush, oh, hey, this is somebody who has a life to go home to too, even though it might not be the best circumstance that they're on the side of the road. Maybe they need help, maybe it's a tow truck driver, but you never know the story behind, you know, the circumstance that they're in. So you really have to think of other people when you're on the road. Obey all of the laws and everybody will get there safely. And you know, we really want to drive this home, especially this year when we have so much construction out there. It's just another reason to pay attention, to focus on that one thing you have to do, and that's to drive.
I think you sent some pictures as well that show some examples of what these people have to go home to. And again, you couldn't have found any cuter kids. You know, I think that just drives it home. These guys have families, these women have families to go home to, and that's really important to remember. We want to be safe, and we want them to be safe because that's really ultimately what it's all about. And here's the other thing. If I'm rushing and I cause that accident, not only have I caused then a delay, even if everybody ends up safe, let's say that the accident ends up not hurting anyone, well, great, but then I'm now not going to get to where I wanted to go, and neither's anyone behind me.
Yep, there's a reason that these laws are in place, and that is for safety, and everybody just has to be aware of what goes on the road and what goes on around them. So we just want to just drive that fact home, and that's why those pictures are so important, because they actually show the family members and them waiting for them to come home. So you're going to see more on that campaign coming up within the next few months. If you follow us on Twitter, ODOT_Toledo, or like us on Facebook, that's where you're going to see these campaigns come out.
It's a great campaign. It puts human face to ODOT, and that's really what it's all about. You guys are doing construction because you have to.
Yeah, it's our job.
These are things that have to be done, and you guys all have families, and you're just doing your job. So that's really what it all boils down to. Let's remind people they can go to ogo.com to find out what the latest road conditions are, and that we're just going to keep going this summer and make sure it all gets done.
Yep, go to OGO. You can find great information there. I should have gone to OGO the other day because it made me late for where I was trying to get, and if I would have looked at that, I would have seen that the travel speeds were slowing down and I could have taken a different route. So it's always helpful to everybody.
Theresa, practice what you preach. We'll be right back on Better Living.